Hi, Gary here. Freedom. You know, our founding fathers fought for it. Martin Luther King in a civil rights march, Mahatma Gandhi in India. And we can go out to foreign wars we've been involved with to help the freedoms of other countries. We get involved in many areas around freedom. It's a very important core value for Americans. And when we look at freedom, there's maybe a set of rules and a set of other principles and values around that freedom. However, it is an ideal. What I mean by that is it's a mental construct, just like the horizon. It really doesn't fully exist, although we try to pursue it as best we can. And so we move along that route to do that. You know, there's a woman named Jessie O'Neill, granddaughter of Charles Irwin Wilson, who is the president of GM and the Secretary of Defense under Eisenhower. And she grew up in a lot of wealth and affluence. So she wrote a book, The Golden Ghetto, The Psychology of Affluence. And in that book, I'm going to paraphrase her whole understanding of freedom around money. Affluence is a harmful, unhealthy relationship with money when any individual has addictions, character flaws, psychological wounds, neurosis, and behavioral disorders caused by the desire for or presence of wealth. Now, she's a licensed therapist, and she personally experienced this and understands what's going on there. And what does that mean? Well, we also know historically that when wealth is built by entrepreneurs and business owners, it's rice paddies to rice paddies in 3 generations. Or here in the U.S., we say shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. What does that mean? Well, the first generation wealth builders, many of you out there, build the wealth up. The second generation kind of freezes it. They don't want to mess up what mom and dad did. The third generation spends it all frivolously and just ends up back in the rice paddy. And we can go back 2 millennium and have recorded history of this taking place back then through now. It's just part of the human element. So there's something about freedom around money that's very important and is a learned activity. It's something we teach our young so that they don't end up there. And there's lots of examples, and I've mentioned before in other writings about John D. Rockefeller and others who have set those up and have been successful with their families well through multiple generations by doing that. Now we got 3 million plus Americans right now with over $1 million investable assets. That's quite a bit of wealth that they're going to pass on to those future generations. And none of us want to pass that on and put it into very poor hands that can't deal with these freedoms. So this education around freedom of money starts, like anything else, when our children or grandchildren are young, to help them themselves set up habits and rules around the principles and the healthy relationship that it has with money. It is something that we can attempt to do if we really desire to have a really great outcome for our future generations. And I don't know anyone out there doesn't want their heirs or future generations to be in a better position than they are currently. And that's the thing about money. The freedoms around that, if not defined, can end up in a very bad place. And I've had clients and others say, I'm just going to give all my money to charity because my kids will just waste away with it. It'll be a very bad outcome. So our approach is to look at this from a proactive side of view and say, look, if we know this wealth is being passed along, let's pass along the freedoms we've learned to how to deal with this wealth to those next generations so that they have a healthy relationship with it. You know, and as Jessie O'Neill says, you don't have bad behavior, neurosis, and other issues, either trying to gain wealth or with the wealth that's actually been delivered to you. So I hope this is helpful in your thinking about the freedoms you have and that you may want to help to engender in your future generations around money and wealth. Until next time, enjoy.